Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about providing liquidity on decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap, and one of the major risks of doing so, impermanent loss. In any type of market, one of the first problems you need to deal with is liquidity. There needs to be the availability of assets to trade. We can use a standard store as an example. You head down to your local store to buy some apples. In order for you to do this, the store must have two things: apples for you to buy and the ability to give you change. However, there may be times that you have gone to the store and you try and buy your apples, but since it is late, there are either no more apples or the shopkeeper doesn't have any change left. Frustrating, right? Well, the solution to this is to bring a sufficient amount on either side of the trade, so the shopkeeper and we, the customer, can carry out the trade. This is called liquidity. Well, decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap have the same problem, but we aren't dealing with apples and paper cash, we are dealing with cryptocurrencies. So we need to pool each token that we are trading. When you are adding liquidity, adding tokens to the pool on a decentralized exchange platform, you should think of this as putting tokens into two jars. Every time that there is a trade on the platform between the two tokens, the users are taking tokens from one jar and putting tokens into the other. Let's look at an example. In one jar, we have our Ethereum tokens, and in the other, we have Chainlink tokens. We provide the same value in each jar, a 50-50 split in terms of USD. When a user on the decentralized exchange buys Link, they are taking from the Link jar and depositing into the Ethereum jar. Now, when we, the liquidity provider, want to take back our tokens out of the jars, we noticed a problem. We now have more ETH than we started with, but less Link. So what has happened? When the swap happened, the supply of Link becomes less than the supply of ETH. This causes the price of Link versus ETH to go up. So when we, the liquidity provider, want to get back our tokens, we now have less Link but more Ethereum. That last point explains why it's referred to as impermanent loss. If one token in the pool pair goes up in price, its supply would decrease in the pool, and we would get less overall value than somebody who just held on to both tokens and was not supplying liquidity. So you may be asking, why would I ever participate in providing liquidity if I am assuming all of this risk? Well, the part that we haven't mentioned yet is that there is a transaction fee paid by the users of the decentralized exchange. This fee is paid directly to the liquidity providers. When you are providing liquidity, your share of the liquidity provider fee depends upon your share of the liquidity pool. A typical liquidity provider fee is 0.3%. So if you were providing 10% of the liquidity, you would get 10% of that liquidity provider fee. So you would get 0.03% of every transaction as a reward for providing 10% of the liquidity. In a traditional centralized exchange, the fees are earned just by the exchange, whereas in a decentralized exchange, the fees are shared across all of the liquidity providers, meaning that it is a far more fair distribution of wealth. Typically, the longer you are providing liquidity, the higher fees you receive and the less chance to enter into impermanent loss. Liquidity provision is a passive income vehicle that becomes worthwhile typically only on a long-term basis. The last thing we will talk about is an example of farming or liquidity provider rewards. So, how does farming work? Well, one of the owners, the project team, of one of the tokens, in our example Chainlink, will create an incentive program where they will release an extra allocation of their tokens to the liquidity providers. However, please be careful with the APY percentage that the team may be offering. When investing on a farm, you will receive rewards in a token that can change price, which can fluctuate your daily income to the downside. And please remember, none of this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and you should do some more research before starting to provide liquidity on decentralized exchanges. In conclusion, liquidity pools are a far more fair wealth distribution system. However, they carry the risk of impermanent loss. To offset this, there are liquidity provider fees and sometimes farming rewards to offset this. And finally, it is typically only profitable in the long term. We hope that this video helped you to understand liquidity provision and the risk of impermanent loss. We have also linked to an impermanent loss calculator tool in the description. If you liked this type of content, then please consider subscribing to our channel, and we will see you in the next video.